Who was taking it?
Dan Harris says before the game, he says I had to go home and make these, so make sure I'm plugged up. It was Paul, I'm telling you, go online to see.
I got it. I got it.
Oh my goodness.
Lineup set.
Hi everyone, I'm Mitch Jurisich and welcome to a very special Hooked on the Niners, a 1-hour special.
And I'm Dan Brown of the San Jose Mercury News. We'll look back at a victory over the Rams and one long season.
And I'm Terrell Jones. We'll talk about the playoffs that the Niners are. Oh, they're not in.
They're
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Welcome.
but we're gonna give grades on players, the whole season, the whole deal.
Hi, and I'm Jerry Walker.
Welcome back.
His name, the new guy.
Look at that, Jerry
Yeah,
Walker.
Jerry Walker.
So you got this to put up with today.
Yeah, and what are you promoting? Nothing.
I'm not really sure.
Around the league.
Around the league?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about other teams in the NFL.
And what's the name of the young lady sitting behind you there? She sits by you all the time, Rena.
That's Rena. That's my alternate voice.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
Angel on your shoulder.
We should probably put them in alternate chairs is what we should do. We're going to have all that and not a darn thing more right here on Hooked on the Niners and the secret word.
I told her to sit here today.
Hooked on the Niners is partially underwritten by the following. Bach Construction Incorporated. They can be reached at 415-518-4900 or on the web at bachconstruction.com. Eddie Perez Painting Company. They can be reached at 650-363-5904 or on the web at eperezpainting.com. F. Ferrando and Company can be reached at 650-756-2800 or on the web at fferrandoandco.com. Lawson Willard Architecture can be reached at 415-674-1102 or on the web at lawsonwillard.com. Pettinelli Financial Partners. They can be reached by phone at 650-595-4600 and on the internet at pettinellifp.com.
All right, welcome back to Hooked on the Niners, our last show of the year. The 49ers played their last game of the year. They win 19-16 in overtime against the hated Rams. Isn't it funny how you don't hate the Rams as much when you're having a lousy year, I guess. I don't know. But I guess the worst thing we did by winning that game was lose 2 spots in the first round of the draft. But you can't look at it that way, can you?
We lost a head coach out of it, too, by the end of that night.
Yikes. We'll get to that.
Well, you know, it's interesting to me that sometimes players will rally around the coach, and I think they generally like Jim Tomsula, but I think they played hard and won that game not for that reason. I think they played hard because they wanted to. I think a lot of guys are auditioning to stick around.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of guys wanted to put some stuff on tape for other teams to notice.
Right.
And the fact that they, forced overtime, blocked a kick in overtime, generally played hard in front of a smaller crowd in a game that didn't mean anything except them was interesting to me. You
know, you mentioned that block, Terrell. You and Jerry have been around down on the field many, many years. That block by Dante Johnson, when they showed it on this particular camera, I've seen people dive this way, a long way. He was like 5 feet off the ground when he did. I mean, he just dove like a missile.
That was one of the best athletic moves I've ever seen.
Ever.
Because if he would have caught the ball, that would have been even better. And I think he was close to doing it.
He almost did catch that ball.
Yeah, you're asking an awful lot there. But I thought they played hard. They gave it their best shot. No.
Well, I mean, here's what I think is, and maybe the players played hard.
Yeah.
But some of the play calling.
Oh.
I mean, you're on the Rams 40 or 37.
Yeah.
4th and 4.
Yeah.
Why not go for it?
Oh.
What else?
A minute and 37 left?
Right. Yeah. And then
go for it or kick.
I will say, in the coach's defense, Phil Dawson said after the game that was the right call. He said, and this is a guy who's 3 for 3 from 50 yards this season.
I'm not talking about kicking a field goal. Go for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go for it.
I'm saying if you
sense.
don't go for it, line up like you're going to go for it, and let the clock run. If you get a delay game, it's better for the punter.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then also there's that 3rd and 1 play where they pitched the ball to Harris.
Yes.
Okay, that's a difficult play to begin with.
Right.
And you're talking about a guy who's only been there for 2 games. Okay, it's 3rd and 1.
Right.
Okay, you've got some pretty good running backs.
Yeah.
Why not just running up the gut.
And I know people are tired of hearing me say this, but it happened at least 3 times in the early going in the game where we would have 3rd down and whatever the distance, and the ball gets thrown 2 yards short of that. And I'm just at home. Dan, I can't I can't go on.
When it was 3rd and 15 or something, and they tried for that dump off pass, and Blaine Gabbert couldn't even get it that far. Right?
Yeah, right. He just threw it right
push
right
pass.
out. Poor guy. But Jerry, you've been involved in, most of the last games of the season for you were gearing up to go to the playoffs. But you had a couple where you that was it.
Well, yeah, a couple. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think we made the playoffs all but 1 year that I was there.
Okay.
And now that I'm back, all but 2 years.
Yeah.
3 years. So most of our final games were, are we going to rest the starting team or not?
Right.
Are we going to rest the skill players? So that's, it's, I think, more enjoyable, even though you're not going anywhere, it's more enjoyable to have the whole team fighting for something.
Right.
This only looked like they were resting their starters.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it, before the season started, we lost 14 of our starters.
Right.
Or some number like that. Whether it was injuries or trades or retirements or whatever. So, in a way, you mentioned that Jim Tomsula is gone. It was almost, I think, the perfect storm. I know some guys don't agree with me about that. With him, I mean, it was almost doomed from the start, don't you think?
I definitely think he was doomed from the start.
Yeah.
The hand he was dealt was not a fair hand.
No.
I think above everything else, what no one's talking about and should be is how he kept the team together.
Right.
Yeah.
He did an excellent job of going through a terrible season and not having fingers pointed at teammates
Yeah.
and other coaches and things like that. He did a great job, and he's a class act.
Well, and here's one thing that I didn't like is, and I can't remember which reporter or somebody said this, they showed a picture of Tomsula after the game, and he's walking away. And he's got this, somber look on his face.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, you don't want a coach like that, to be on the sidelines, who's not joyous that you just won an overtime
Right.
game. Well, it was already leaked out that he was getting fired.
Right.
So how do you,
How's he supposed to smile?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I will say he seemed very genuine after the game. I mean, he knew his fate,
Right.
right? Even if he hadn't been told, he knew his fate.
Right.
I think he wanted Sunday's game to be about the players.
Right.
Right.
And I think that him jumping up and down and celebrating and all that stuff would have made it seem like he was celebrating
Right. And I agree.
himself and
Right.
his ending.
He's
And I
always
think
coaching with the players in mind. It's all about the players.
Yeah.
I think he was doomed. I think that he his strength, they knew from the beginning, was this guy's personality is contagious. He's fun to be around. The guys like him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the coordinators he selected or was part of the selection process, I don't think he had the best people around him.
No.
And I think that a guy whose strength is his personality, but doesn't have he had never been a coordinator. He didn't have much experience on the offensive side of the ball, except for what he did in NFL Europe. Jeep Chris was not a good coach to have around.
Right.
I think that the game plans were not sophisticated this season, so that's on him to the extent that he could have done better.
Right.
Well, and also too, I think that those coordinators were pushed on him. I don't think Mangini was his first choice.
Right,
I
right,
don't
right.
think Chris was his first choice as well. So and one other thing I want to get back to this, them leaking out that he got fired. And
That's a problem.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
But also too is think about the family.
Right.
Because we went through this with Coach Mariucci.
Right.
Where Coach, they brought him to the office and they said, hey, we're going to let you go. And Coach said, let me tell my family and our coaches.
Sure.
Well, somebody in the office leaked it out. And I read about it. I saw it on SportsCenter. I was downstairs working out and I saw it on SportsCenter. Well, Coach Mariucci had to go. His wife called. Kids were crying. She had to go pick her kids out from school because this news was leaked.
Wow.
Take that in consideration what the families are going through. And they didn't.
What's working out? I'm sorry. Frank likes. He laughs at
It's
everything.
not the secret word.
And there never will be the secret word.
No. That'll drop over before that happens. No, the thing about the leaks, I think, is very worrisome because this isn't the first time that this
Right.
had it. I mean, it's just kind of like here. We would never leak anything out about anybody here. I mean, we wouldn't tell anybody that Jerry and his wife Jackie found a nude beach in Hawaii. We would never. That would just.
Well, and again, but we would never tell any.
Please never leak that.
We would never say anything bad about Jerry, like he fell off a teeter-totter while he was in Hawaii with his future son-in-law. So.
Okay, all right. There's all these stories. Seriously.
Mai Tai.
Yeah, to get back to this Mai Tai.
Three.
Yeah.
my boy.
For my guys.
Our last segment, we'll talk about what the Niners are going to do from here, but we've just kind of set the stage for you a little bit here. We've got some things that we usually do in the next segment. We're going to do it in this segment. How about our player of the week for this game? I'm anxious to see who this is.
You know, again, this is always difficult for me, and I don't know why you gave this to me. But I went with two players.
Okay.
I went with DeJuan Harris. I thought he played an excellent game. I mean, again, this is only his second game.
Right.
And he played
He
great.
looks like a keeper to me.
And you're wondering why he's bounced around.
Well, like you always say, a lot of
it's a
times
numbers
it's
game.
it's numbers.
Right, yeah.
We can't afford you.
Or we've got a back who's making $3 million and you're only making this much.
Right.
We have to play this guy here.
Right,
So-
exactly.
We drafted him.
Exactly.
Drafted him in the first round.
Right.
And who's the other player in the Players of the Week segment?
I went with
need
Phil
to read him.
Dawson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old is he?
40?
He could be on this set.
Yeah. He could.
He'd be the youngest. Well, I mean, the youngest.
Except for our number one fan, Rena,
right,
back
that's right.
there.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I don't think Phil would mind sitting back there with Rena, but anyhow.
No, well, Trent Baalke was talking yesterday about how young the roster is. That they I think by the numbers they're fifth youngest in the NFL.
Yeah.
But he said they'd be even higher if they didn't have Phil Dawson around to raise the average age.
Absolutely. All right. Our stat of the week. This one, I'm mesmerized by this. I look forward to both of them.
I have two. This is the first one.
Let me reset it. Stats of the week.
The first one is that this is only the third most boring stat of the week of the year.
We'll be the judge of that.
Well, let's hope.
Oh, did you say something? My bad.
But this one's about consistency, health, and the reliability of Anquan Bolden.
Oh.
So amid everything, all the quarterback turmoil, kind of a bad offense, a bad season, 69 catches.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives him 13 consecutive seasons with at least 50 catches to start his career. No NFL player has done that. Not Jerry
Really?
Rice, not Randy Moss.
Wait a
Anquan
minute.
Bolden.
13 seasons of at least 50 catches has
start-
never been done.
to start a career.
Well, to start a career, I mean, how much longer is? I mean, I want him back.
Many receivers wouldn't have gone that many seasons.
Right.
But you have to remember too, and Dan, you know this, that when he was in Arizona, he got hit so hard one time that they had to put plates in his face, and he missed what 1-2 games.
It restructured his face over to the left slightly.
Right.
I mean, that was.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even like. La 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 la. I don't want to even say. I don't want to think about. What's your other
He does the
stat?
same thing with
No,
working
the
out.
first one was that there was only the third most boring stat.
Oh, okay.
You want more? You want me to find it up?
No, that's done. Next part of the show. How about the call of the week?
Okay, so there is none.
There is none.
No, now you're talking about an officiating call?
Or a play call.
Okay, the play call we've already spoken about.
Yeah.
And that's a minute and 34, a minute and 37 left in the game.
37.
And you're on the 37-yard line. You either go for it, attempt as if you're going for it, pretend you're going for it. Maybe you get a delay of game. Maybe you get an offsides and a first down.
Right.
If you get a delay of game, it might help the punter. But I think with Phil Dawson, who, by the way, was player of the week,
Yeah.
I think with a leg like his, you could have kicked it. Although Dan said he talked to Phil, and Phil said no, it was a good call not to kick at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that they decide before the game, right? They look at the wind, where the wind's blowing from. They test kind of their range, and Dawson said, no question, it was not, not in position.
So you were at the game. What was the mood in the locker room? I mean, we all assume it was somber, but anything else you can pluck from that?
It's interesting. I mean, what I kind of gleaned from that is that they all really liked Tomasula, which we've known all along, right?
Right.
He's a really good guy.
We all do.
I don't think anybody really defended him as a strategist.
Yeah.
Nobody said, hey, this guy was pressing the right buttons. We disappointed him. It was more like, hey, it's a good guy. It's too bad this happens.
Right,
I mean, those
right.
weren't the words, but that was the sentiment.
Sure.
And York said something yesterday at the press conference in explaining kind of the same thing. Look, we like Jimmy T. He did a great service for this organization for a long time.
Me too.
But the team did not improve.
Right.
And I think that's a fair point, right? You didn't see they played harder some games than others, but in terms of figuring things out, making the adjustments, that kind of thing, they didn't get better.
They didn't get better, even with what he had. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to improve on last year's record without all those players over there. The one thing that gets me about this is, and I understand how this works, and I get it completely, but because he is gone, if the new coach comes in, he's not going to say, that is one hell of a defensive line coach we just let go. I'm going to bring him back. It just doesn't work that way. And I'm sorry for that, because he would be a great defensive line coach again here for us.
He is.
I mean, their line here for all the years that he was here was one of the real strengths of that team.
But in this case, I might not rule that out.
Really?
Seriously. I mean, it would take a deep breath and a big gulp on Coach Tom Sula's part to come back as a defensive line coach. But he's a coach. He loves coaching. It's his life.
Does.
Someone will pick him up.
Yeah.
But I could see him saying, I know I'm not in charge anymore. You got no worries. I'll do my best at the defensive line.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to give out some grades for the team. The guys are all armed with these little cards.
Time out.
Huh.
I won't need the A.
Okay, you won't. Okay.
I won't need the B.
Okay, you guys are wondering why I. Yeah.
Did you say throw out grades?
There you go. The grade. You won't need the A or the B. All right, so we'll give our grades when we come back, and I do want to thank the graphic arts department here at Create TV for all these wonderful things they've done over the year, like the secret words.
Did they do this one?
Yeah, they did. They did that. We'll have more when we come back right here on Hooked on the Niners.
In the United States, there are an estimated 3.8 million sports-related concussions and brain injuries per year. As many as 50% go unreported and untreated. The One Hit Away Foundation is the only nonprofit organization in the Bay Area and the country that focuses on brain healing and brain health following sports-related concussions. One Hit Away provides education, support, and resources for healing sports-related concussions. If you or someone you know is suffering from a sports-related concussion, please visit us at www.onehitaway.org. One Hit Away Foundation understands your brain can change your game.
Jesus.
Okay, I guess it's morning time. That kind of proves that. All right, we're going to give some grades out. This is the first time we've ever done this, and the guys are well equipped with the stuff to do this. And what's really gotten me, folks, I know you probably can't see it at home, but these guys really took it. For the first time, they all have notes.
Even for the first time.
I mean, it's kind of like you guys actually went to school at some point, did you?
Wait a minute. We always have notes. You're the one.
Oh, that's
right.
Okay, so let's get right to it. I got through school on Cliff Notes. In fact, my degree says this is to cert that mit sich is, Did you get that?
Cliff didn't sit near me, so.
Oh, okay. Cliff didn't sit near you. All right. First grade is for the offense for the year. Well, Jerry, we'll start with you. What grade did you give the offense? A C minus.
Really?
Professor, would I have loved to had you in my class teaching me?
I took into consideration all the injuries.
Yeah.
Changing the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The offensive line. If you could grade them like by position instead of by units,
right,
it might have been different. But I'm going C minus.
Okay.
He came back from Hawaii. He's in a better mood than the rest of us.
Yeah, he's good. I gave him a C minus, brother.
Wow.
How about you, Terrell?
I gave him a D.
A D.
Yeah.
Okay. No plus, no minus, just a straight D.
Straight D. You know.
Yeah, barely passed.
Overall, they were 31st. In the league.
Oh, yikes.
21st in rushing, 28th in passing. They averaged 207 yards passing.
Oh, yeah.
And even with the
stat right there for you.
Even with the injuries.
Yeah.
I think it boils down to the play calling.
Yeah.
Because they did have some weapons, but I just thought the play calling was poor.
I've thrown my A away. I gave him an F.
Yeah. Oh.
I gave him an F.
Okay.
Last in the league in points is an F.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where the bar is set. Last in the league in points, second to last in the league in total yards. More than that, they were unimaginative.
Yeah.
Throwing 3-yard passes on 3rd and 5. It's just maddening to think that they. I can't imagine doing worse. You look around the league, the Carolina Panthers scored 500 points even, I think. So almost double what the Niners managed. So that's an F.
An F.
What did the Rams score?
They were 31st in points.
Yeah.
But the Niners scored more, including in the last game.
Right.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
bump
Do I have to hold this up to a mirror if I use this?
Yeah. All right. My grade for them, they started the season with 3 of the 5 offensive linemen in place. Their tight ends dropped more passes than anybody, and they absolutely traded some of those drops to Denver, where the guy drops more there.
He's going to
And at the start of the year, our quarterback couldn't hit the broadside of the barn, so there's only one grade they could get, and that's an incomplete. Because that's basically what
I don't have that in
Give me
my
that
cards.
A back.
I found
The
a
dog
blank.
ate my homework.
My dog ate.
Give me that A back.
So I gave them an incomplete. All right, now we're going to the defense for the year. Guys,
Jerry.
defense for the year. Jerry, you want to go first?
On real shows, they have like the next person go first.
Oh, okay. You
and
want to
then
go?
the
Oh,
next
you want me to
person
go first?
Yeah.
Okay. I gave our
No,
defense.
you're not the next person.
It'd be,
Am I-
goes down the line, so I'd be.
Oh, you go first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, while we're at it, this
Yeah.
is actually the first show of the year.
Okay. It's the last show of
Of the
oh,
season.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
See, he
listen.
comes back from Hawaii and he mucks things
You know
up.
what? I'm going to start giving these guys grades. And nobody. I
Okay.
don't need the A. I'll tell you that.
So
Go
I'm
ahead.
going to be Mr. Consistent. and
Okay.
I gave the defense a D.
A D.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, again, 29th in the league.
I love the fanning.
I got
looking
stuff
for
to
the
do
cards.
here.
They gave up 387 points.
Yeah.
Rushing 126 yards per game was the average. In 261. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and I understand there was some injuries there.
Yeah.
But that defensive backfield, got to get it together.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Dan?
C minus.
C
Not as bad
minus.
as you might think. Not the F that would give
Okay.
you. You know, I think that they, when the offense is playing that badly, and the offense is giving you a lot of 3 and outs, there's a lot more
Right.
pressure on the defense. I thought generally they had some rough games. Pittsburgh was a rough game.
Ooh.
Arizona was a rough
Oh.
game. They played well against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. You know, I think they they had some other games where they played pretty well against the Rams.
Right.
C minus.
C minus. Okay, for me, I'm giving them a C, and I agree with all the things that you guys have said so far. Right on the money. Great notes. You probably cheated off one another. I give them a C for a couple of reasons. I thought Ian Williams came on pretty strong near the end, and he looked pretty good. I love watching Navarro Bowman play.
Yep.
And that guy coming back from that knee injury, he was fabulous. He just he does it for me. He rings the bell. So for that alone, I give him a C. Dubber?
So I'll take your C and I'll add a plus.
Okay.
Because of Navarro,
Okay.
because of Eric Reed,
Okay.
because of some of the new faces that popped up.
Right.
There's some potential there for a solid defense for next year.
Jaquaski Tart
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
like a good keeper. And then the linebacker, I apologize, I can't remember his name, that they picked up off the waiver wire from the Raiders that played near the end of the year, 51 or so. I can't think of his name right now.
Ray
But
Ray.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
okay.
Armstrong.
Yeah.
Armstrong. All right. Where are we now? The special teams for the year. Guys, that's you.
You know, to my
You
surprise.
have work to do?
Well,
Okay, all right.
no, we're good.
Okay.
To my surprise, I gave him a B.
Okay.
Wait, to his surprise.
They woke up and said, I'm going to give him a B.
Unsurprised me. I just gave him a B.
Yeah.
I thought I don't need that again. I looked at the stats because my vision of them, my memory of them is Pinion got off to a really terrible start.
Yeah.
You know, he was no Andy Lee for sure, but he got a little bit better as the year went on. His
Right.
overall, Phil Dawson was very reliable, as we
Yeah.
said, 3 for 3 on field goals of 50 yards or longer.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't surrender any touchdowns on
Right.
punt returns or on kickoff returns.
Yeah.
So the coverage was pretty good.
Okay. I've just been told we better speed this up a little bit. I give him a C+. If for nothing else, Phil Dawson, that guy is money. I agree with you about Pinion, the punter. He came on, and I thought we played pretty well running down kicks. Dubber?
C.
C.
Go ahead.
Okay, so yes, you agree. Is that what you mean,
I
C?
agree with-
C is the grade.
No, it actually surprised me.
Okay. All right. All right. Coach.
Oh, you
Wait,
forgot
wait,
coaching.
wait, we don't have to speed it up that much.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, you get to
Come
do
on.
this.
I
Okay.
gave him a C as well.
Okay.
So.
All right. How about for the coaching? I guess I go first, and I'm going to go. Where is it? Did you? Giving him a D. I mean, if we're finishing last in the league in offense, the defense would have had to just been the 1985 Bears to balance this out. So I'm giving him a D. Dubber.
I went with, I can't find it, but I went with a C minus
Okay.
because again of all the injuries and all the transitions and all the transactions and yeah, C minus.
Okay.
C minus as well. Same thing. I just don't think that they really did a great coaching job. I mean, you did have some key players who could have, I felt, produced more. So,
Okay.
C minus.
A D.
A D.
I think that strategically they were a mess. I think they
Yeah.
tried to simplify the offense for Kaepernick, and it
Right.
simplified things for the opposing defense too. Would have been an F, except for the fact that they kept the team together. There wasn't a lot of infighting. That's credit to Tom Sula.
Right. Okay, the next one is the grade the management for the year. And do I start?
I think I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. I'm wondering one question though.
Yeah.
Why is it A, B, C, D? What happened to E? Why does it go to F?
Oh, jeez.
I don't know.
So I'm going with E
E? Okay.
for effort.
Okay,
Especially
that's
down
that,
the,
a boy. Hold it the right way.
especially down the stretch.
Yeah,
Management did a great job of finding players and plugging holes with those new players,
yeah.
especially on offense.
Right now, Jocelyn over here on this camera is saying, why did I get stuck with Jerry? Anyhow, go ahead.
I give him an F.
Yeah,
The biggest thing to me, besides, they had a lot of holes, but one of the executives said that we did not prepare to have a leader in the locker room.
huh. Good.
Isn't that one of the first things you look at in the beginning of the year?
Well, if it's true, you keep it to yourself.
Yeah, that's true. So
yeah. We didn't prepare to have a guy on the end that never says his name. But anyhow, go ahead. What did you?
Jerry Walker.
but he can be coached.
Yeah, right.
I give them an F
Yeah.
for effort. I think that, I don't
Good
blame them
line.
for all the defections. Patrick Willis, Chris Borland, some of those things
Yeah.
were a surprise, but I don't think they reacted quickly enough, especially on the right side of that line with Anthony Davis leaving. That was a season-long trouble spot, and
Right.
they didn't do enough. So,
Okay.
Therefore-
I give him an F plus.
or plus
F
F.
plus.
Yeah.
F plus. And it's going to sound kind of hooky. I kind of like Jed. I think he's a nice man. Okay?
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
plus.
That's the plus. Yeah, I think he's a good guy. All right. Offensive player of the year, and we got to go fast here. Offensive player of the year, who's starting?
I will.
Okay.
And Quan.
Anquan Bolden.
Yes.
There you go.
Consistency.
Swung
Yeah.
by my stat.
Yeah. Okay.
The other receiver, Torrey Smith,
Torrey Smith.
who averaged 20.1 yards a catch and was open a lot more than that.
Yeah. Joe Staley has been here a million years, going to the Pro Bowl again. Mr. Consistency on the left side of that line.
Carlos Hyde.
Okay.
It's just too bad we didn't get to see him longer.
There you go. Defensive player of the year. Who's going first?
I will.
Okay.
Ian Williams. It was great having Navarro back, but this guy was under the radar all year and emerged late as one of the best interior linemen in the game.
I am going to seek therapy after this show is over because I went Ian Williams. And
oh
if
my
if
goodness.
I'm thinking like Dan Brown, I need help. Okay, go ahead.
I think that the guy next to me is going to go with Bo.
What the
Navarro
hell?
Bowman.
Oh, okay.
53. So I took the same numbers and reversed them. 35. Eric Reed.
Oh, very cute. Very cute.
I went with Bowman.
You went with Bowman?
96% of the snaps he played coming off a devastating knee injury.
big.
Right? Wow. Special teams player of the year. Who's first? Me?
You.
Phil Dawson, oldest guy, nice looking guy, great kicker. The most confident I feel watching a 49er game was when he lines up for a field goal. Go.
Have we ever had a player that when we played in that team's stadium, he was saluted and celebrated? Phil Dawson was celebrating Cleveland when we played this year. It
Nice.
tells you what kind of guy he is.
Phil Dawson. Uh-oh, I'm thinking like two guys.
Uh-oh.
Please have Phil Dawson. I'll feel
Dawson.
better for you. Oh, okay. I feel better now. I feel better. Okay.
Like, I'm going to go with a surprise and say Phil Dawson.
Yes, it's unanimous. Phil Dawson
Dawson.
for president.
There we go.
Phil
Okay.
Dawson.
Well, one more to go, and that's the award for the coach of the year. Who's going first? Tom Rathman.
Oh, nice. I went Jason Tarver,
Jason Tarver.
linebackers coach.
Definitely.
There you go.
I went Tim Lewis because I think some of those young defensive backs got better.
They did get better. I picked Tom Rathman for a variety of reasons. 9 different guys carried the ball for the 49ers, and somehow they all looked competent when they were doing it
And-
in spurts.
And he worked with the Australian.
Right. Yeah. Hyde.
Hayne.
Jared
Hyde,
Hayne. And also because if he finds out about this and I didn't pick him, he'd beat the living hell out of me. All right. When we come back, we're going to go around the league briefly. We don't have to, as you said, we don't have to talk about us in the playoffs, but there's a lot of things that happened, and we need to talk about that when we come back right here on Hooked on the Net.
I think Rathman might be the best running
Did
back.
you know there are over 6,000 adults with developmental disabilities in Santa Clara County? At LSA, we're dedicated to creating quality residential care homes and providing exceptional services 24/7 for adults with special needs, because we believe everyone deserves to live their best life possible. Isn't that right, guys?
Yes.
Please become a friend of LSA today. Learn how at
where is it?
lsahomes.org.
Green Hills Country Club. Miller. Oh, welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. That was a fast promo there. All right, we were chatting just a little bit. Let's go around the league, and as we get into the playoffs, just give me some surprises that happened during the league. Maybe not just with teams that made the playoffs. Something that happened. I'm sure the 49ers situation surprised a lot of people around the league. What surprised you, Jerry?
I think the way Seattle started.
Yeah.
Didn't surprise me the way they're finishing, but it surprised me the way they started. And I guess also the way Carolina started. I kept thinking, okay, they're 1-0.
Yeah.
Okay, they're 3-0.
Right.
Okay, they're 5-0. That's a darn good team.
Yeah.
Well, to piggyback on what he's talking about, Seattle, Russell Wilson is the first quarterback in NFL history to throw 4,000 yards, rush for 500 yards, and throw 30 TDs in one season.
Now
That scares me.
That should have been stat
That
of the week.
scares me.
Yeah.
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 But the surprising thing to me for this year, what about Kansas City?
Yeah.
10 straight.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Oh my goodness.
Do you want to do Player of the Week next year?
Give him to the stat.
And we're talking about a guy named.
Not that you did a bad job. Yeah.
We're talking about a guy named Andy Reid who got kicked out of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right. That's
And a quarterback who got kicked out of San Francisco.
There you go.
Yep.
This isn't a guy that you'll see in the playoffs, but the most surprising player to me all year, Blake Bortles.
Oh yeah.
4,400 passing yards, 35 touchdowns.
Right.
Out of nowhere.
Right.
Shocked me.
This isn't a surprise to me, but it's surprising how fast it happened, the injuries. You know, Green Bay losing Jordy Nelson at the start of the year, that's almost a death knell hanging over your head right there. To start, you're taking away Aaron Rodgers' best receiver.
That's one player, though.
And how many quarterbacks went down? And this is a league now, you think you need to have a good backup quarterback. Well, I think now you need a good third one as well. This is just getting,
In some cases, a fourth one.
it's surprising to me
Or fifth
how
one.
many of these guys get through an entire season. I guess that's my surprise. How about disappointments? I mean, other than the 49ers.
Well, part of this is injury fueled, but the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
They lose Andrew Luck. I think they were so fun to watch, and he was
Yeah.
really emerging as one of the great players. And I thought we might see the Colts at Levi Stadium in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
They added Frank Gore. They added Andre Johnson.
yeah,
Just epic disappointment.
yeah.
But it's funny, they go from Andrew Luck to Josh Freeman,
Yeah.
who's playing for the Coney Island Thrashers.
Oh, yeah.
They were surprised this year, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I've always been one to pull for the 49ers and whoever Dallas is playing.
right.
But I'm disappointed in Dallas because they had I thought a much more potential. Tough defense, good offensive line, and I feel bad for Tony Romo.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed in Baltimore. I thought they were really going to have a good year,
right.
but no.
Right.
I mean, and they said, oh, injuries. Well, they didn't lose Flacco until what? Till 3/4 of the season was over with.
Right,
So
right.
yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Disappointment for me that we're not in the playoffs. I mean, I'm bringing it back to the 49ers. I enjoy the playoffs. I love at least being in contention. A disappointment for me was, and I said this earlier during the year, when you turn on the TV set and you kind of know in the back of your mind, we don't have a shot
Yeah.
at this game. And that's a big disappointment to me. And hopefully they get that turned around.
I think we weren't favored in the game all year.
No, the only team in the NFL that wasn't.
That's
Not
my
favored in the
that's
game.
my stat of the week.
What
Despite
about
a lot of
any,
winnable games.
any revelations? Anything come to you like, wow? I mean, anything like that during the course of the year? Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Wow, Cleveland's bad.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
But since 2008,
yeah.
that there's been 5 different head coaches
More stats out of this guy.
in the AFC North.
5 different head coaches
In the AFC North, and they all came from Cleveland.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus.
And 9
Do you
different
sleep at
different
night,
general
or-
managers.
Do you sleep at night, or are you just on the web looking for this minutia?
That's pretty impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
To me, there were a couple of revelations across the bay.
What?
Khalil Mack.
Oh,
saying,
my goodness, how
last
good
year
is
his
he?
sack totals
Whoa.
weren't very big, and you thought, okay, was this guy going to be the force they wanted?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And Amari Cooper, despite the drops, holy cow, he looks like he's going to be a force for
Yeah.
for a
We
long,
knew
long
that when he
time.
got drafted.
Yeah, and
a
Sammy
stud.
Watkins up in Buffalo looked like he's finally arrived in the last couple of games. The revelation for me is I am so tired of the move to LA stuff. Somebody just move there and just let me know who's going to be there.
It's all
when
about the money.
I know it's all about the money. I know. All right, let's
it's all
just
about the
very
base.
quickly, because we're going to save a lot of time for our last segment, which is titled "Now What." The Super Bowl picks. Who are your Super Bowl picks? Jerry, we'll start with you.
So I know we're on time restraints, but I want to back up.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to go to the championship games.
Okay.
Arizona and Green Bay.
Okay. Whoa. Arizona and Green Bay. What makes you think Green Bay is going to be there?
They've struggled so much lately that they're just going to put it all together and make up for all these little bits of mistakes and injuries.
Interesting.
Cincinnati and Kansas City.
In this championship game.
How many Mai Tais did you have this morning?
Yeah.
and I got Arizona winning it all.
Arizona winning it all here in our little corner of the world.
I'm going Arizona Patriots.
Arizona Patriots.
I mean, everybody's like, oh, Patriots lost to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're going to get Edelman back. They're going to get Collins back. They're going to get Chandler Jones back.
Yeah.
They're going to get so many guys back.
Okay.
And you're giving Bill Belichick 2 weeks to prepare. Oh, yeah. Give me that any day of the week.
Best coach in the league.
Yes, by far. Yes.
Okay.
How about Arizona over Pittsburgh?
Arizona over Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's a team you don't want to play right now.
Right.
I think that their offensive threats are real, and I think that this is their time of year.
Yeah. I'm going Minnesota Vikings and the Washington Redskins because I'm a jackass. Basically, a
my grades
smart
go.
aleck. Yeah, where did my grades go? Yeah, these cards are just messing everything up. All right, that's it for Around the League. When we come back, now what for the 49ers? What happens next? I'll tell you, I'm going to lunch right after this. That's what happens next for me. We'll have that when we come back. Hooked on the Niners.
Hooked on the Niners is partially underwritten by the following. The Bay 101 Casino. They can be reached at 408-451-8888 or at bay101.com. The Carmel Honey Company. They can be reached at 831-687-8511 or on the web at carmelhoneycompany.com. RMI HVAC and Plumbing, 650-583-6200 and on the web at rmihvac.com. Bluestone Engineering, 925-932-7053 and on the web at bluestonemeb.com. Drew Ward Tile Company can be reached at 408-264-9273 or connect with Ed at drewwardtile.com.
All right, welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. It's time to go around the league. Now, what do the 49ers do? You were at the press conference yesterday. We talked a little bit about this before we came on the set here. I guess he said all the right things. I mean, there's a few little nitpicky things that I could get into, but I won't. But it seems to me like he wants to get this done. What are you laughing at? No.
Somebody said it's a first.
No, yeah,
I'm not going to get into nitpicky. That's a first.
So
yeah, I mean, Jed York's talked for half an hour. He faced the music like he said he was going to. Last year when he did this, he was pretty defensive. He was coming off the parting of ways with Jim Harbaugh.
Right.
And, very successful coach that kind of booted out the door. And I think there was an arrogance like, okay, well, we can do just fine without him. The
Right.
organization is set that we don't need this guy. Well, turns out you do need a great head coach. And if they're going to set the bar where Jed York has set it, promoting a defensive line coach with no head coaching experience like Jim Tomsula, it's not that easy, they found out, to succeed.
Right.
One of the things they hinted at yesterday, Trent Baalke spoke later, not in front of the cameras, but to reporters, is the next coach is going to come with experience. That's a big word for them. And he didn't necessarily say head coaching experience, but I think coordinator level for sure. I don't know what that means in terms of the college coaching candidates, like a David Shaw, but it's not going to be some guy who's this is his first trip around the block like Tom Sula.
Yeah. What do you guys think of what went on yesterday?
Go ahead, Jerry.
I thought the Jed pulled it off very well. I thought it was a basically well-maneuvered press conference. And I think that now we're going to look forward to the next few weeks to find out more on who that candidate is.
Yeah.
And who the staff and all that put together. But I thought that the Jet was humble and precise.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure about the 5 a.m. tweet from Mr. D.
Yeah.
But for Mr. D, that would be 8 a.m, so I can understand that.
Yeah, right, exactly. Which means he'd been up 4 hours already.
Right.
Because I think he's a 4 o'clock rising guy.
I think number one is that when they bring in a head coach, he has to get along with Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
And right now,
looks that way.
Yeah, and right now, everything has been kind of pushed on Coach Tom Sula, that this is his fault, yada, yada, yada. and I'm sure Balky stepped up and took some of the blame, but you have to look at him. He's the one that makes all the, a lot of the personnel, and probably all the personnel decisions.
Right.
And if you don't have a head coach and a GM that gets along, that's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
We went through that when we brought in Terry Donahue.
Right. Right.
So, so they have to look at that, and there is something to say about experience, but then, let's look at John Harbaugh. What was he when he was a
special
DB's coach?
teams, special teams too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Baltimore brought him in, and what he did was he surrounded himself, and Ozzie Newsome's an awesome GM.
Yeah.
I wish we had him.
Oh.
But he sat down and they went together and said, okay, who are we bringing in as coordinators?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's where they went wrong with Tom Sula. Let him pick who the coordinators should be. So
you look at Ozzie Newsome. Most general managers or people that are in charge of the draft, whoever it is, they say are about 50-50. With their success rate. You look at Ozzie, and I bet you he's 60-40, or maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
He never misses on I shouldn't say never. Rarely misses on the 1, 2, or 3. He just and he knows what his team needs.
And even free agency.
Yeah, right. They're
well.
they're very, very good at that.
Right.
Let me just throw some.
I would
go ahead.
say one more thing, because
Yeah.
you brought up Balky, which I think was a good point. I think one of the surprises for me during the press conference yesterday is I think there was some speculation that Balky was on the hot seat. That maybe his job would be on the line. He whiffed on the 2012 draft.
Oh, boy.
His free agent signings last year, Reggie Bush, Jerome Simpson, guys contributed
Darnell
nothing.
Dockett.
Darnell Dockett contributed nothing.
Right.
And not only is he staying, but he's kind of got more power than ever. He's going to lead the head coaching search.
Right.
He's going to be a guy who's really influential in the rebuilding of this team. So that kind of raised my eyebrows.
Well, here's a question for Dan. You talk about Balky and free agency. How much money did they have left in the salary cap, under the salary cap?
They're 40-something million under.
They kind of signaled that this year that's going to change. They're going to spend aggressively.
But why? But why wait? Why,
Well, I think Balky's operational plan is, hey, let's build through the draft. So I think they had young guys that they hadn't extended yet. I think there were still auditions for guys like Kaepernick. Maybe they saw free agents in this year's class that they were going to go after. I don't know why there was so much, but that's the way they've been doing this.
But it's a good thing now.
Yeah, it's a good thing now.
As it
Well,
turns
the
out.
list of free agents is out, and the one that just kind of intrigues me as soon as I heard this name is, now I just forgot his name, the kid that rushes the passer in Denver.
Where?
No, the other one.
Oh, Von Miller.
Von Miller is on that list. Hey, if
You know what?
Huh.
They're going to throw him the king's ransom to keep him there.
You think so?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay,
Are you
all right.
kidding me?
Okay,
Oh
well,
yeah.
but-
You talking about a talent?
But they said that yesterday at the press conference, all the resources are there, but almost didn't quite say blank check, but said he's going to have everything he needs, meaning Balky, to go out and get what he wants.
But here's the thing,
Huh.
okay? When somebody becomes a free agent and they're courted by other teams,
Yeah.
first thing they do, they call players on that team and say, hey, what's it like?
Oh, do they really?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. They do
All
they do their homework.
Okay.
And do you think that a guy like Von Miller is not? He'll call Navarro, he'll call other people and say, what's it
Yeah.
like? So you have to have a good atmosphere.
Let me throw out some names of coaches. Just give me a few words on each one of these. The big one, Sean Payton.
Sean Payton's done an excellent job in New Orleans. And he could work with a guy who's powerful. So two power guys, I think they could coordinate well together.
And they're both from the Parcells tree.
Yeah, which that doesn't impress me.
Really?
No, for lots of different reasons. But
Okay.
but his experience, his Super Bowl experience, his experience of ups and downs in New Orleans, I think he would be a good one. My favorite is Mike Holmgren.
Yeah. Mike Holmgren is someone that I would really love to get in here. How about you?
Well, I mean, you throw out Sean Payton, but why would Payton want to come to a team and rebuild when he can stay in New Orleans and you got a quarterback like Drew Brees?
Well, ownership down there, from what I understand, is not the easiest to work for.
But also, too, now that the Giants' job is open,
See, that's the thing.
that's the crown jewels
That's
right
a
there.
plum.
Yes.
Right there.
Yeah.
Big Apple, big money, solid family, decent roster. If Jason Pierre-Paul knows that you can't hold firecrackers in your hand, if he knows that before the season starts, that's a pretty important guy on their team that
They need some
they
receivers.
lost.
But you know what? I
They need some receivers, Jerry said.
the coach that I would like to see here
Yeah.
is Mike Shanahan.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if they would have hired him last year and with
Yeah.
the coordinators that he would have brought in, we may not have been here
Yeah.
at this point. And I don't know if I know that he's interviewing in Miami right now, and I know that he had interest last year. I don't know if he has interest this year.
Right.
But I would like to see Shanahan in there because look what he did in Washington.
Before you get a chance, I just have to let you know that I just saw something for the first time in the history of doing this show, a 15-minute warning. Just for you at home, usually I get a 3, a 2, and a 1.
What I like is the first segments were like, we gotta go, we gotta rush.
Now we got 15 minutes.
Well, because we wanted more time for this. How about you, Sean
Think of how many
Payton?
more stats of the week we could have fit in.
I've got tons.
Yeah, I'm afraid you do.
That was probably in their thinking.
Right.
Shut him
Right.
up.
You know, Shanahan, Holmgren, Sean Payton. You guys think of old school.
Yeah.
I like Josh McDaniels.
Really?
Here's why. I
He
think
flopped in
he
Denver.
flopped, but sometimes
He
the
took Tim
some
Tebow in the
guys.
first round.
I think some of those guys learned from their flops, and I think he maybe was a little young. I think he was a little arrogant, but I think that in an offensive mind, like Shanahan is, but an offensive mind is really important. And I think the Niners have, when they've whiffed on coaches like Singletary, Mike Nolan, Tom Sula, I think it's been guys who haven't dealt with the offensive side of the ball enough.
Right.
So I think being around Belichick, being around Brady, I think being in a coordinator spot for a playoff team for many, many years are all important things and important experiences. He knows where to set the bar. He knows what perfection looks like. And I think given a second chance to maybe come in with some more humility, I think his personal skills weren't always the greatest in Denver, but he's a guy I would look hard at.
Well, you know
Well,
what?
that was one of the most
That's a pretty nice
compelling
sales
things
pitch.
that was ever said. What the hell are you sitting here for?
Are you his agent?
No, I just
Here's my question.
Yeah.
He comes from the Belichick tree, where
Yeah.
they're used to having personnel control. Could him and Balky, be in the same room and operate together? So with that being
Well,
said,
that's
would you
good.
look at him or would you look at a guy like Adam Gase, as well?
didn't Adam Gase get burned by this franchise last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
did.
it may mean he might want to come to prove that they
Right.
made a mistake, that they should have hired
And
him
we'll
last year.
probably say we're sorry,
Oh yeah.
won't they?
Probably.
About what they did to it? No, they probably.
They would write a check saying we're sorry.
Jeez, can you get on the search committee with Balky?
Gase might have been flying those banners around Levi Stadium.
Trent, if you're watching, then I'm really worried about you. But if you are, this guy, he knows his stuff. All right. So they'll get a coach in here. I would love to see Mike Holmgren here. He and I are the same age
who has an
until
off-
tomorrow,
who
and
has-
then I'll pass him.
To quote this guy over here, who has an offensive mind,
Yep.
he has experience,
Yeah.
got a Super Bowl title, doesn't
Ring.
he? Or two?
And he's been the general manager, and he's
Exactly.
been a president. So if he just goes down to be the coach, and he's just got a short drive from Santa Cruz.
And
Find the next Shanahan.
But you know what? And both of them have experience of turning around a bad franchise. Because Holmgren went to Green Bay.
Yeah.
Look what he did there.
Yeah.
Mike Shanahan went to Denver and to Washington. Look what he did there.
Right.
So,
right.
and I mean, he would have been more successful in Washington
Right.
if they didn't have an owner who sides with the quarterback instead of your head coach.
Sure. We have all put our hands in the middle here and have agreed to come back in April to do a show on the draft, right? We're all going to.
Yes.
And so that'll be coming up. So we won't focus so much on the draft with this next question of mine. Where do we start to rebuild this team? Several theories. You start with the foundation from the inside out. Don't go for the skill position players until you get linemen and so on and so forth. What do you say? How do they start this?
I'm an inside-out guy.
Yeah,
And
me
I
too.
think that, I was kind of looking at the draft top prospects, really heavy on cornerbacks this year,
Yep.
defensive backs.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not a bad way to go.
Yeah.
To use the cliche, but the Niners are in a situation where it's the best player available.
Right.
Quarterback might be the last piece of the puzzle for this team. Bortles might be Bortles.
Oh, geez.
Blaine Gabbert,
Blaine Gabbert, yeah.
might be able to get you through a season, a rebuilding type season.
Right.
I
And
would
who
rather
knows?
focus on the line, the defense, offensive line especially. We've talked about this before, but some of it depends on, do some of these guys come back? Does Anthony Davis, after a year to let his body heal,
Right.
take over the right tackle spot again?
Maybe re-sign. But I know here I said that we wouldn't get into the draft, but Terrell, I know that you're into this stuff. I'm in love with the guy out there, Laramie Tunsil.
Oh, but he'll be the number one overall pick.
Probably will,
Yeah.
but he's a offensive tackle
from
from Ole Miss.
Right.
Yeah.
But usually I go offensive line first.
Yep.
I got to say, you have to get a quarterback this year, because you have so many that are coming out that I think are really good. But you know what? If Jared Goff's there, take him.
Yeah.
And you take him and let him develop.
We're down to 10 minutes, guys.
Wow, watch out. Let him develop for a few years because
second and third round.
Yeah, Frank's enjoying this. Go ahead.
Because this year the offensive line the draft for the offensive line is not great.
Yeah.
It's not good at
It's really heavy at the top with a few, and then there's a big drop off after that. And one position where they are pretty good, but it's not historically a position that you take high, is guard.
Yeah.
That's a second, third, fourth round.
And that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would go Goff and then look at some guards.
But there's free agency too. You can get some offensive lineman free agency.
Right.
Goff was an outstanding college player. He had to do a lot of himself.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have much to work with. I don't know how that translates into the NFL though.
Quick
with
release.
the offense, yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Small. I mean, I don't mean
but
short.
tall.
Yeah.
But he's
Tall, but he
And,
needs to hang out with me for 6 months.
But also too, look at his family. They got a very athletic background.
Yeah, they do.
So
They do.
and he's smart.
So you say the Niners should not pass on a highly rated Cal quarterback?
Have they done it before?
Yeah.
Never ever come back to hunt.
Yes.
Never ever come back to them. I kind of think that if the quarterback's there, I think you have to make up your mind. Are we going offensive line first and then try to get a quarterback in the second round, or reversing that? Get the quarterback and get the offensive lineman. Who knows which way they want to go. Now, if they decide to get Sean Payton, that second round pick might not be there.
Right.
And I don't know that you want to give up the 38th pick in the draft, because there's only 31 picks in the first round because of the forfeiture by New England.
Right. So remember, the Niners have a dozen draft picks. I mean, they're assuming they're going to have a dozen when you get through with the compensatory picks.
Right.
It's going to be a dozen.
So they can bundle a few.
And for the first time in the history of the NFL, the compensatory picks are tradable.
Right.
And we'll probably get one for Upati, for Crabtree, Culliver, Terrell Brown.
Scooter.
Scooter was the year before, I think.
No.
I think he was the year before.
No.
Oh, okay. So there's some compensatory picks there that you can bundle to move up.
But don't they get draft picks for people who retired as well?
I don't know about that one.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'm glad he didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
Because we get a boatload.
Oh, yeah. All right, now for the first 5 picks of the draft, here are the 49. Yeah, okay, let's, I hate to do this, but you kind of have to. What players do you think won't come back, or won't be asked back, or may retire?
It's so tricky because a lot of it is going to depend on the coach. And Trent Baalke talked about this yesterday. Different players are suited to different systems. So take, for example, a guy like Colin Kaepernick. In the right system, he might succeed.
Right.
In the wrong system, he's going to look like he did last year.
Right.
So he's a guy who could go, to predict his future is impossible to me without knowing what kind of coach you're going to bring in.
Right.
Especially now with a thumb injury.
Now the thumb injury, which is...
That baffles me.
Yeah.
Because now if he has surgery, that's going to take 3 months to heal.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay, and that's going to drop, his value.
And plus, if
keep
he's
him on
not
the roster
healthy,
longer.
they can't not bring him back they can't cut him
Right.
to save the money April 1st if he's
my-
not healthy.
So my question is, he hasn't played in how long? And this thumb injury's been lingering for
weeks?
how long?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
something rotten in the state of Denmark. There's
Exactly.
no. That was me quoting Shakespeare. Did you get that? That's not bad.
I went to Denmark last
I
summer.
read that in Cliff Notes. Yeah. So go ahead. We were
So-
talking about who's not going to be here.
I mean, does Anquan retire?
See, that's
I
the
hope
one that's
not.
not me too.
I hope not, but
I don't like athletes retiring until I'm finished watching. So
Exactly.
have Anquan give me a call. Don't you dare even think of it, pal, because I'll come in. No, I won't.
No, back in the day when Bill Walsh had a strong roster,
Yeah.
he would let players go before their time rather
Right.
than keep them too long.
Right.
But at this point, I think everybody that's on that roster needs to be considered
Yeah.
to be on next year's roster until we hear differently from a new coach, a new system, or whatever.
Well, but I mean, I'll just bring this one up. Jerome Simpson. I can't imagine we're down to 5. I can't imagine him coming back. He did nothing this year. Can you guys see him coming back?
No.
Jerome Simpson.
I mean, and you have some. I think you have some talented young wide receivers that can really do well.
Ellington, Patton.
Right.
Yeah.
But also too, and let them develop.
Right.
But also too, like Jerry said, free agency.
Yeah.
Let's bring somebody in.
Right.
Who is actually going to contribute.
Right.
So.
And look at Trent Baalke's, where he's whiffed a lot is receiver.
Oh,
His
yeah.
ability to judge receivers' talent has not been strong.
A.J.
Right.
Jenkins.
AJ Jenkins.
I just don't think they gave him a chance.
Nor did Kansas City.
Hey,
Right.
another guy who I'm curious, since he's now a show favorite, Phil Dawson.
Yeah.
He thinks his leg is still strong enough to kick off. The
Right.
Niners gave that duty to Pinion this year.
Right.
But he turned out to be a valuable guy.
Oh,
he's a
no
veteran who
doubt.
can handle a lot of different things, and he's a guy I'd like to see come back, and I'm not sure he will.
Well,
Good community guy, too.
Yeah.
I think he will come back.
I hope so too. Is Alex Boone? Is he a free agent?
Yes, he is. He is a free
Okay,
agent.
do you bring a guy like that back?
Well, there's, if you say we're giving him the money and everything, he's got a free reign to go get all these guys, that to me would be one of the guys you'd go get. But I don't think a guy like Boone is going to sign until he sees who's coaching here.
But also too,
He doesn't want to go down this road
well,
again.
also too, he ruffled some feathers.
Yeah.
In that locker room.
Well, and then when he held out,
Right.
You know.
So,
That was a problem.
Yeah, I mean, if they can find, I think if they find somebody who's just as equal or better than him, they bring them in.
yeah, absolutely. So free agency, the draft, that sort of stuff, who's coming back, what else can we touch on with the 49ers?
Well, let's look at the coaching staff. Right now, all the assistant coaches are in limbo.
So they're not fired, just
No,
just
They're
the head
available
coaches.
to the new head coach.
They are.
Right. But
Okay.
also, too, from what I heard, is that if something comes along, they go present it to Trent and Jed and say, hey, I got this opportunity, and it's up to them to release them out of their contract or not.
Sure.
So
So I hope we can keep Tom Rathman.
I hope
I hope we keep Jason
Actually,
Tarver.
Jason
actually,
Tarver.
the coaches we mentioned.
Yeah, Jason Tarver, I thought did a great job with the
Oh.
linebackers. That's the strength of our defense, basically.
And I do think, one of the things that I think Jed York acknowledged this yesterday, but the Niners have to be very aware of they've got a near fan revolt on their hands.
Oh, there's no
the
doubt
disgust
about
with
that.
the franchise and the frustration with the franchise. So what they need to do is make these big moves in free agency. I think
Yeah.
they've been kind of quiet in past years and maybe getting a piece here and there.
Right.
They need to go get a big fish or two to show they're serious about yesterday's press
Or
conference.
three.
Right.
Right?
Or three, yes.
Or three, right?
Well-
it's about actions now.
I
Spend the
tell
money.
you, I agree with you. As a guy, or my family, wrote a pretty sizable check for our seats, and here I'm watching the game on Sunday and walk through the kitchen, see the two, the things we printed out to go to the game are right there on the table, because we couldn't get anybody to take them.
You printed those out yourself?
Yeah, we did
Wow.
that.
2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes.
Yep, 2 minutes. Our last game,
Already?
our last show of the season.
Oh, it is the last
Yeah,
show.
yeah, right. How
Want some
about
mac
that?
candy from Hawaii?
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, some candy from
Great,
Hawaii.
thank you.
You get 2 for 2 minutes.
2 for 2 minutes.
So I heard you guys bringing Joe Montana back.
Yeah, we're bringing Joe Montana back. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
bringing
he-
Terry Bradshaw
I was
back
about
to
to say
the
the same
Steelers.
thing.
Yeah.
Or Neil O'Donnell.
All right, before we go any farther, our secret word this week was thanks to the graphic arts department for all the work they did this year and making up these signs. We sure appreciate that. Yeah, that's almost right. And to you for sticking with us all year. Hopefully you like this kind of nonsense. We'll see you in April with a draft show. And
Don't we have like about 30 seconds left?
yeah, and thanks to you guys.
Well, thank
it's a lot
you.
of fun.
Here's
I really like two of you.
Here's a quick question. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? Quick question. Okay, you said free agency. They
Yeah.
need to. Okay, Mr. PR.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, would you plan a big fanfare to get the fans back into the good graces of the Niners?
Good idea.
Darn
Good
good
idea.
There you go. All right.
And-
Especially if you get a bunch of guys in free agency and some draft picks.
Yes.
You got a half a you give that idea a D?
No, I'm saying we need defense first.
Okay.
So my suggestion to them is have Jerry plan it, then you be his assistant, and then we're good.
Mitch be the MC and
You wanna hold
be
that
in
up
charge of the
again?
food.
Hold that up
So
again.
just don't do it on February 7th.
Defense?
Oh,
No, that doesn't work.
That fanfare FanFest shouldn't be February 7th.
It
though.
should, no,
No,
no, it should not.
There's an event happening.
It should be sometime. Yeah, there's something going on. Hey
Cold-
guys, seriously,
Coldplay?
and we'll see you next year right here. We're still hooked on the Niners.
Hooked on the Niners is partially underwritten by the following.
Time the segments.
Oh gosh,
they-
you know, Gopher did a great job. Nice job, Gopher, on timing those segments out.